unveiling the stories and people that make our town so unique. I'm your host, David Wohl, and I'm thrilled to bring you this new podcast that explores fascinating stories and experiences of local business owners and community leaders right here where we call home. Grayslake Rehabilitation Center is a community-based private practice physical therapy provider. Do you know they have 13 clinical providers with various levels of specialties, including orthopedics, sports, neurology, vestibular, geriatrics, pelvic floor, and aquatic? What? Did I just say they have a pool? Well, they do, and it's the largest indoor warm water pool in Lake County, featuring 2 underwater treadmills and swim currents. And recently added clinical treatment specialties, in layman's terms, Shockwave. They have both radial and focus units that are the newest tool in regenerative medicine, available to everyone. They pride themselves on the most current and up-to-date specialized care to keep you moving. If you're looking for physical therapy, make sure to see our friends at Grayslake Rehabilitation. 1 minute, your world is normal. The next, it's gone. A flood, a fire, a crime scene. Your home shattered. Your business shut down. Your life on pause. But in the darkest hour, when chaos knocks at your door, that's when Serve Pro of Northwest Lake County shows up. Not just a company, not just a cleanup crew, but neighbors, parents, coaches, locals who care. Drake and his team aren't just restoring properties. They're restoring peace, restoring dignity, restoring lives. So when your worst day arrives, call the oh no guy who becomes your thank God guy. Serve Pro of Northwest Lake County. Locally owned, nationally known, unshakably trusted. From devastation to restoration. Serve Pro, Northwest Lake County.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Discovering Grayslake. This is actually the first one we are recording here in 2026. Today we're recording from the Grayslake Library, and if you guys hear any background noise, it kind of sounds like we're in an airplane bathroom sometimes. So, but we're going to do the best we can with it. So today I'm not tapping on the table. I'm welcoming Randy Kick. Randy, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, Dave.
Hey, thank you for joining me.
And Happy New Year, by the way.
Yes, Happy New Year to you. Yes, thank you. All right, so we're here today. We, if you're from Grayslake and you've grown up anywhere near here, your last name, people should know somebody.
Well, at some point, you've probably heard the name.
All right, so let's start with this. How many siblings do you have?
Well, currently, or where we start with?
Start with, yes.
There were 19.
19.
Right.
So Kick family grows up in Grayslake with 19 kids.
That's right.
Wow. And now where did you grow up? What house did you live in?
Well, it's still there down at Hickory Street, which is a neat little street to live on because it's a short street and it terminates, I guess, at the end of Slusser, going to the north end of Slusser. It just winds right into it. And there's only like 4 houses on it.
Yeah.
And we basically own the street in the sense that it climbs up a hill to Lake Street when there was a high school. So when we were young, people would, venture down that road. We might stop them, if you know what I mean. Anyway, I'm joking around. But the house is still there, and that's where I grew up. The piece of property, there's the ranch house we grew up in was there. It was built in like 59, I think, or something like that. The original place we lived was behind it, which is now, there's a garage back there, approximately 2.5-car garage that my father built. That space is where our original house was. I just did it. I keep my hands off the table. I'm going to sit on my hands. Anyway.
So that garage is back there. So the original piece of property, is it the same house there?
Yeah, so it goes from Hickory Street back to, I guess it's Park District property now, behind it. But when we lived there was a Standard Oil depot of some sort there. And so the Sioux Line train had a spur that went right over to that thing. So the tracks that are there currently, there was one that came over further to the west, I guess you'd call it, to the left.
Yeah.
And so while the home I'm talking about, the old one, was near to the original tracks, it was even nearer to this spur.
Wow.
And so if you can imagine a train coming in, it looked like you could almost reach out the window and touch it. And yeah, it did shake the house and created a lot of other problems too.
I'm sure.
Anyway, so that house, I was there until I was 5.
Okay.
So working it backwards, I don't know how many people that might be. doesn't matter.
Right.
There was a lot of us living in a place that was probably about the same size as that garage.
Oh.
So approximately 15 or 17 people living in there.
Holy smokes.
Two bedrooms.
How many bedrooms?
Two.
2 bedrooms.
And my sisters, who out of the 19, there was 5 girls. Out of those 5, 4 are older than me.
Okay.
And so, unfortunately for one of my sisters, she was born blind. So she wasn't at home a lot. She went away to, special schools.
Sure.
And but anyway, when she was around, and in her absence, my sisters, the other 3, when she was there, they all slept on a pull-out couch. That was their room, the living room, whatever it would look like, because I was 5 years old when they moved out of there.
Right.
And they joke around with me, like, where'd you guys all sleep in that little house?
Right. Where did you sleep?
Well, a dresser drawer, they say, and I said, come on. And then one of my brothers says, we actually had a dresser? Wow, I didn't know that. Right?
Right.
Stuff like that. So anyway, my oldest sister now, I have only 2 siblings that still reside in Grayslake. One of them is my oldest sister.
Looking for a car dealer that actually feels like your hometown? Welcome to City Chevrolet of Grayslake, where the vibe is friendly, the pressure is off, and you'll always be treated like family. Meet Anthony Scala. He's just not the owner. He's a guy that grew up in the car business, worked his way from porter to owner. Anthony believes in people first. That's why City Chevy sponsors your kids' teams, your town events. And matter of fact, this show, they give back every chance they get. Anthony thinks that the experience of buying a car should be fun. No pressure, just honest people who care. Whether you need a new Chevy, a quality used car, or just service you can trust, City Chevy is here for you. Come visit City Chevrolet of Grayslake right off of 120. And thank you for sponsoring our town, our stories, our voice. Let's get after it, Grayslake.
And I don't know if she's serious, but she sure sounded like it. Oh, yeah, in the bathroom, she said half of the floor was mud. There wasn't a floor there. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, she said that's what it was. It was half finished, half unfinished. I said, what? Well, she goes, Randy, back then, they didn't have all these codes they have now. And in fact, there was a what you could just really refer to as a shack directly to the west of it that a family lived in, that ultimately one of my an older sister, but younger than, anyway, younger in the sense she was, I don't know, at the time. But anyhow, she married one of the occupants who lived there, and then they ultimately have moved to Wisconsin and have 6 kids of their own.
Wow.
But the owner of that property, those 2 homes, and maybe the whole lot for all I know, or 2 lots at the time, was some old woman who I swear her name was Mrs. Kasuas. Now, I may have that wrong, but so if anybody ever...
Charlotte, run ahead and let us know.
Yeah. Her house was where the east parking lot on the Grayslake High School, part of it's there. Now that, there was just homes over there.
Right.
And her home was there, some big 2-story old farmhouse. And she had goats running around on the property. She was a weird woman, but pretty savvy. She had this, she was a slum landlord, and
with a mud bathroom floor.
Yeah.
Wow.
So ultimately, she must have sold it to my father, and then somewhere along the line, he bought the other lot too, and tore down that house. And like I said, they ultimately had this house built out in the front on 62 Hickory Street.
Gotcha. And
I'm sure it was almost probably compliments in the sense that it was the labor maybe was by a men's guild or club at St. Gilbert's, because we all went to that school.
Yeah.
And while my dad was very handy, he probably was working on it too. But I mean, I was so young, I don't recall.
Right. So your family, your mom and dad, did they grow up here?
Well, yes. My dad was actually, I think, from Libertyville. I just did it again. I'm going to sit on my hands. Okay. Yes. So, yeah, his father was a dairy farmer who immigrated from England My dad's a first-generation American in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so his dad came from England, and I think they had like 12 or 13 kids, mostly boys. In their case, like 12 boys. He was the oldest one. In fact, they had a milk delivery service at a farm at the corner of Butterfield and 137. There's a office complex there now, but when I was in high school, there was a place called Ozite Carpet. Anyway, so they ultimately moved to Wisconsin and had another dairy farm up near Wisconsin Dells, that area, so you have a reference.
Mm-hmm.
But my dad was already an adult and didn't move up there with them. So he stayed down here and worked as on a crew at some estate in Wadsworth. I don't think it was the Temple Smith people, but it could have been, because they still have a lot of property up there.
Sure
I don't know, but anyway, he was on this crew and very happy because he liked to garden. And according to one of my sisters, there was like 3 or 4 kids already, and they were living on the property in our house. So somewhere along the line, the foreman of the crew retired or something. He changed, so the owner hired a new guy who brought in his own crew. So everybody who worked there
got the boot.
You're right. And so don't ask me how he did it. I don't know where he learned it, but he became a welder and was very good at it. And so then they ended up moving into Grayslake, the town, and had a place up on Slessor Street, where the Vine is.
Yep.
Well, a couple doors down. I think they rented it. And so he worked in a fabrication shop right either across from the Vine or in the Vine building. I don't remember. It was one or the other. And that was where he worked. And so he was pretty convenient because it was only 2 blocks from home.
Right.
My mother didn't drive.
She didn't drive?
She did not drive. And so he was left to do all the driving. So that company, though, at some point, I don't know where I was, how old, but they moved to Libertyville. And I don't know what made him do this, but he ultimately got a job at American Motors in Kenosha on their maintenance crew. And so when people hear that term, they might think, oh, he was like cleaning the place or something. It's a broad term, but in that kind of business, that world, they have pipe fitters, they have electricians, all these people who fix all the equipment, or they're like on call because it's production, right? You can't stop the machine, so to speak.
Right.
So he was on that crew, welding things when they broke down.
Right.
He had downtime and uptime, but he decided to work the third shift. Did that for 25 years straight, and sometimes 7 days a week.
Holy smokes. Because
he got paid extra money. First for being on third shift, and of course working extra, overtime. Now, that in itself, forget it. I tried working third shift once. It's not going to happen again. It was very brief. I couldn't. I like to sleep at night.
Right.
But anyway, so he did that, but he kept his job and he did go to work in Libertyville when that company moved over there. So real quick, here's his schedule. This will kill you. We started when he went to work. We'll call it his work schedule. So he left our home at 10 o'clock at night to drive to Kenosha. I think he started at 11. Worked until 7. I think that was his schedule. Then we got back to Grayslake about 8. Had some breakfast or dinner, whatever you wanted,
Yeah, whatever you want to
He
call
had
it.
something to eat. Futzed around in his garden, if it was depending on the weather, or was down in the basement of our house. He had things growing during the winter, so he was always involved in his gardening. Then he left about 9 o'clock and to drive to Libertyville to get there at 9:30 to work until about 2:30 or 3, and then he came home. On the way home, he stopped at But there was a grocery store. Now it's a Dollar General or something. Used to be a national T when I was a kid. To go in there and buy the groceries because my mother didn't drive. And so he did that. And then he'd come home, have dinner, yell at us because there's a lot of discipline had to be, doled out. Because,
sure.
Yeah. Anyway, so.
And then he has slept eventually.
So he got to bed about, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and we were supposed to be quiet. Well, good luck with that. There was like a tribe of people out there in this, arguing, whatever.
Wow.
So he went, and then he'd get up at 10, and this went on forever.
Wow.
And so that was what he did. And
we're taking a quick break just to say hello because everybody knows Nano, and Nano knows real estate. And actually, I believe that's the name of her Instagram page. So if you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or know somebody in the market for a home, contact Nano from Baird & Warner. She's a Grayslake girl helping out Grayslake people.
The Grayslake Chamber of Commerce isn't just networking, it's opportunity. Members get exposure through local events, online directories, and social media, plus access to exclusive resources that help businesses succeed. Make new connections, grow your brand, and be part of the events that bring our town together. Learn more and join today at grayslakechamber.com. The Grayslake Chamber of Commerce, the new wave of business.
And then occasionally people would call him to fix things because he was a welder. But I'll give you an example. So I'm going to jump ahead here.
Sure.
So now I'm married, living in Libertyville. My wife and I have our first daughter. She's going to Central School, which now is fancy condominiums, but it was like Lakeview School, right? So anyway, she's a first grade or kindergarten, one or the other. And so we're in there, parent-teachers night, looking around, just walking around, talking to people. And all of a sudden, this guy comes up to me, introduces himself, and he says, "You're Randy Kick, right?" I said, "Yes." And he introduced, I go, "Oh, he's the principal, right? Or the super, one or the other. The top dog, the administrator." He goes, "I know your dad." I said, "Really? How do you know him?" He goes, "Well, you helped get me through college." I said, "My dad helped put you through college?" Wow, I must have missed that because he didn't help me. Jeez. Well, tell me how that worked.
Right.
I'm curious. He goes, "Well, I got a part-time job at this fabrication shop." He was working there, and he taught me how to weld.
No kidding.
And he goes, it was very handy because then I was able to find work because everybody wants a welder.
Right.
And so I said, "Well, thank you, and Dad." Sort of. No, I thought that was nice.
It's a very cool story.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So, it wasn't. Well, it was clearly he could do these things, but if he had time, I never went to where he worked. He was retired from American Motors. He had to go up there for something, so I drove him, which he went in and I don't know what he was doing, but it occurred to me while I was doing this. Now by then I was probably in my early 30s, late 20s. I was actually driving him. Now, big deal. Well, it was a big deal. Well, none of us were allowed to drive his car, because if he did without that car, he wasn't getting anything done.
Sure.
And so that was bad. And so we were never allowed to drive his vehicles. Here I am driving my dad. Like, wow, I finally
You get to use the car.
I made the grade. I'm driving Dad somewhere.
So with that many siblings, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Go ahead.
With that, so 19 kids living in basically all in the same place, right? At one time, or was everybody all together at once?
No.
Because I was going to say age-wise.
Right, because I mean, between the oldest, my sister, well, actually my brother Pat, I keep calling him because I rarely see him. He lives, I think, in Georgia. I haven't seen the guy in probably 25 years. Between him and my youngest sibling Tony, it's like 21 years.
Okay,
so
a huge
like
difference.
My recollection of Pat, like when the whole group moved from that old little house to that other one, the newer one, he had gone into the Navy. So then you'd see him sporadically.
Sure.
So no one ever lived all at the same time.
But it must have been a very interesting way to grow up.
It was.
I can't even imagine. Dad's pretty much gone almost all the time working.
Absolutely.
And then, but besides Mom having to do everything, she had to be pregnant a lot at this time too.
Well,
taking
right.
care
So
of all
that's
the
the other thing.
kids.
People say, she must have been pregnant a lot. Yes. If clearly it was about, you added up, it was about 18 years.
Right.
And that's crazy. But she never had any problems that I'm aware of.
Right.
Mom's pregnant. It seemed like a regular thing.
Sure.
And then she go to the hospital. Boom. Oh, you have another brother. And so towards the end, there's Tony's the youngest, and Peter's before him. Then there's Yvonne. So towards the very bottom, another girl. Boom. That was unexpected.
Wow.
But no, there's never a dull moment. And we, at least for me, I get along with all of them. I always have. Everybody has their moments, but.
Sure.
Looking for a place where there's always something happening? Welcome to the Grayslake Village Center. Whether you're planning a family outing, a date night, or a fun night out with friends, the Village Center has something for everyone, year-round. Enjoy a fantastic mix of restaurants, unique retail shops, and exciting events that bring the community together. And just steps away, you'll find Central and Gelatin Parks, home of the library, aquatic center, skate park, senior center, and numerous recreational opportunities. Whew, that's a mouthful. So if you're looking for something to do, come explore, dine, shop, and play right here in the heart of Grayslake. Find out more at grayslakevillagecenter.com. And go check them out on social media and give them a like, give them a follow.
That's extraordinary to live like that. So I want to talk to you about growing up in Grayslake.
Sure. Go ahead.
I can't even imagine. So you said you moved from the house that had the garage next door. Then where did you guys move?
No. The garage was where the garage is currently. That's where our old house was.
Gotcha.
My father, who was there when they built the new one out in front. So it's on the same property.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and then we got involved tearing that down.
Where do you fall in age-wise for everybody? Are you towards the older end? What number are you?
I'm 12.
You're number 12. Okay, so tell me about like a great memory of growing up in Grayslake with all your siblings. And like, what did you guys do for fun? I mean, you had your own football team basically.
Right. So we were always doing things like my sisters will say, when summer hit, you guys were outside 24/7. And when you were real little, she goes, you were like running around in your underwear.
Sure.
And it was just, you were dirty all the time, and but you were always busy doing stuff. And so we were always doing things together, either going down to the lake to go fishing, or going swimming, sledding right on our built-in hill right there at Lake, Hickory and Lake Street.
Yeah.
Or we like to go out and shovel snow together in the winter and make money.
Oh.
I had my own little customer. Like I saw on your podcast website, there's Bill Churchill weighed in on something.
Yep.
Well, I'd go shovel. If I got there before one of my brothers, their office, right there. So that was nice. I did stuff like that, or we all did it. So we're out making a little extra money. So it was great. We're always doing, and we, like in our yard, we put in a basketball hoop and played basketballs, even though it was on the dirt. Across the street from where our house is, for a long time, it was a vacant lot. There are two homes right across that were, I guess, from downtown Grayslake, and they actually rolled them down there and put them there.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, and so that was our lot. I mean, we had tunnels over there, and that was like our lot. And one day, all this, I mean, you can imagine this. These are big houses. You can see they're two-story homes, old farm homes, and they're rolling them down the street, and then they boom park them there. That was pretty amazing, just to see it happen. But then there's our playgrounds gone. So we took over this out here. That gelatin property went all the way out to the manor.
Yep.
And so there was like a cornfield out there, had for years. I don't know if they were using the corn in their process with the gelatin factory, don't know. But that we went out there and took that over, in the sense that we have our little, whatever, we goofed around there a lot.
Yeah.
And, so we were improvising a lot.
Sure.
Yeah, because none of us had much, father wasn't going to go out and buy bikes and stuff for everybody.
It'd be impossible.
Well, yeah, and so, and we also had a lot of friends. We always had people coming over, like, kind of right across the street, but their home actually faced Lake Street, was the Jackson family. And so Steve Jackson is a year older than me. And they had an older brother, John, a couple years older than him. Their dad was a fireman, and their mom, I forget what he also worked for Lake County, I believe, Kenny Jackson. And then his mom, Rosie, who I think worked at the high school, clerical or something. But anyway, so like we were always there to be over there. We'd be at their house, playing cards and things like that. We had a lot of all-night poker games when we were young. I mean, not me personally, but I'd be involved in them because I'd come upstairs and people are like, they're playing cards. It's like 1 o'clock, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning because my dad wasn't around.
Right.
And so, my mom was not a good enforcer, unfortunately. Bless her heart. She was tired.
Well, yeah, I bet she was exhausted all the time.
Or, doing something with a baby.
Right.
And so, but we entertained ourselves a lot.
Well, I guess you'd have to, right? At least you have like built-in friends and built-in companions for life. Or that
right, and like I said, so we knew guys around town, and they'd come over, and people we knew from school, and a lot of them were just fascinated, just like, wow, I'm here at the Kick House. And then they'd say later, I survived it, like it was a big deal.
They should have T-shirts made like that.
Well, that's a good one, should have.
So you guys must have known almost everybody in town with the age like that. Your guys must have been all over the place.
Right, yeah, so that's right. We did. We knew a lot of people and still do, like Jim is a friend of mine. I'm his golf partner in our golf league. Even though he went to the public school, for K through 12. I mean, I still knew who he was because he was a friend of the Jacksons who went to the public school. But the Jacksons were part of the St. Gilbert's Parish.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So what year did you all went to Grayslake High School then?
Right. Yes. I'm a class of 71. Oh, and just for clarification, anybody listening who might wonder, if you look in the 1971 yearbook for my picture, you won't see me, even though I did graduate. It's a sidebar story.
Yeah,
I'll share it with you
I love
quick.
sidebar stories.
So my crew I ran around with in high school, we were Bill Eiserman, the PE teacher coach. He called us to we had us on a knucklehead squad for gym class. Now I actually happen to like physical education, but the guys I was running around with weren't so keen on it. But anyway, by the time we got to our senior year, it was one of these stupid things we're talking about, like we're not at school. All right, we're not going to go get those stupid
class pictures.
Yeah, forget it, not us, because by that time they'd gotten rid of the dress code, which one of my buddies, running partners, was indirectly responsible for. He'd gotten kicked out of school. I think it was our junior year, and they kept throwing you out because of Bill Eiserman's haircut rule, or the school, but he enforced it. If your hair came over your ear, top of your ear, your collar, or your eyebrow, you're out.
And this is at Grayslake High School?
Oh, yeah.
Really?
You couldn't wear blue jeans, and girls had to wear dresses. I mean, it was crazy. So anyway, we got to change while we were in high school, and Bill was this guy Bill, I leave his last name out of it, was indirectly responsible. His older sister was a teacher at Wakanda, and she was like, they can't do that. And so she got the civil liberties involved in it, and got somebody. And next thing you know, I guess the school, everybody was folding everywhere anyway because it was like, really? Right. And so Bill Eiserman took a dim view, because now he's like, you can't do that anymore, and he didn't like the long hair. So we all learned. So we're not going to go in to get the pictures taken, right? Well, I went along with it. Well, they didn't. They actually
showed up.
Yeah, they showed up and had done because they're all in the book, and now I'm out of the book. I'm like, darn it. So people say to him, so Randy, how did you do? You didn't graduate from high school. And I'm like, yes, I did actually. Now, it wasn't like there was no distinction, but I did graduate.
They left you totally high and dry. I love it.
Well, yeah. So, yeah.
We'd call those good friends.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so all through high school, but you were all St. Gilbert kids.
Right.
Wow. It says my mom went to St. Gilbert and went to Grayslake High School. I don't know what year she graduated because she was born in 44. So.
Well, she probably knows one of my siblings.
Your name did come up because she would show me like houses around town, like where people lived, and she'd be like, "Well, there's the infamous Kick House."
Oh, that is funny.
Yeah, it must have been. Those are landmarks, I guess.
One of my sisters, again the oldest one, she has a bunch of kids, right? So I think she's 6, and one Halloween back in the 70s or 80s, her daughters wanted to come down to show Grandma their Halloween costumes. And they had a bunch of other kids with them. So my sister driving them, and they're coming down Slusser, and it turns around in Hickory. And they hadn't gotten there yet. And the girls apparently didn't know that my sister was a Kick. And therefore, her kids are related to the Kicks.
Right.
And they go, yeah, and all of a sudden, my sister hears, oh, yeah, that's where that Kick family lives. And all of a sudden, they pull up and stop. And these girls were like, huh? They got to go in, and they got out.
Once again, they survived the Kick house,
yeah,
too.
I know, it's amusing, but, I mean, there's all these myths, but, we weren't doing anything crazy there.
What were the myths?
Well, like you get in, you never get out, or, you're going to end up, you're just going to get lost in the crowd. Because my dad, I don't know if he was just kidding around, but during the summer when he was calling us in, he just started yelling out names. And you'd hear names like, who's he yelling at? I never even heard of that person. Well, you heard his voice, and you're like a pet. Oh yeah, I gotta get home.
Right. So did you guys sit down and I'm trying to imagine what it would be like to live there. Did you guys have dinner together? Or was it?
Well, rarely, but holidays, of course.
Yeah.
My mom liked to whip up a turkey or two at Thanksgiving.
I was going to say probably more than one, right?
Christmas was big. She loved Christmas and decorated, and yes, those occasions. Otherwise, no. It was every person for themselves.
Right.
And so like this, when you see my arms, I would eat like this. A lot of us do. In fact, I was being reminded of it recently by one of my daughters. She said, Dad, you're not at 62 Hickory Street anymore. Because I just automatically go into this mode,
Sure.
Protecting my plate.
Yeah. Well, they say, I forget where we're at, and somebody was eating really fast, and they said, well, you can tell who had a lot of siblings, whoever ate the fastest.
That's right. Yeah, otherwise you're SOL.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I've considered heavy for my family. No, we were all pretty thin.
It just blows my mind just to think about that. Because no one, that has to be extremely large, just to bring everybody together. I love to hear that you say you get along with everybody too. That's wonderful.
Yeah, well, I mean, I call them up and talk to them. But the food thing, we had milk delivery every day from Spinney Run. I think it was 2 or 4 gallons. I know there was always these big gallon glass containers, and my dad would stop at the grocery store and absolutely, it seemed like every other day he'd bring home this box of bread. There were 12 loaves in it, maybe 24, but it was day-old bread. So you got this whole box of bread for $1. Wow. It was unbelievable, and that didn't last very long.
No, I was just thinking about what you'd have to do to provide for that many children. I mean, that must have been rough.
Well, so we ate a lot of soup. We had a lot of soup was a big staple in the house. But all this gardening thing, he turned it into his own industry in the sense that he developed a lot of gardens on their property. Of course, he had the crew to help maintain it, and he was a prolific gardener. The guy was really good at it. He liked to grow flowers too, so he had decorative flowers around. And he had planted trees, special trees like walnut trees. He didn't just plant like an elm tree or whatever. He planted a special tree, or trees. Then he had gardens off site, so to speak, like at the corner of Hawley and Slusser. There's a dentist or medical building there. There was a house there, and the property, the woman who owned it, Helen Daney, I remember her name because we used to spend a lot of time there in that garden. And, so what I guess his deal was they can take some of his produce in exchange for letting him do this. And he had a couple others. He had one outside of town where Lester's is, the original Lester's. There was a Pete Moss company out there. And I don't know who owned the property. I just know whoever it was. We also had gardens there. And then this woman that lived there made apple strudel. And I looked forward to going there.
I'm sure you did.
Because we got apple strudel to take home.
Right.
So anyway, so all these things, he had a methodology to this. You're going to grow like potatoes and things you can can, beans, tomatoes. And so he had allocated part of our basement into what you could call a storage room for all this stuff.
Wow.
And so
He's a resourceful man.
well, you had to be.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's why I said we were improvise and being resourceful, and because he didn't tolerate laziness, and so he would expect you to get up and do things,
Right.
and so work in his gardens or have a job and give him some money.
Right.
Wasn't a hard one to figure out.
No. Well, and when you have to do it, right?
yeah.
You didn't have a choice.
Right. I guess even so, my older sisters tell me before he had the job at the two companies, when he was just doing the welding thing right in Grayslake, he also had a paper route that they all delivered the papers. She
Right.
said they'd be on. I remember his old Ford pickup truck that this is our transportation, so we'd all be in the back of it. Now you can't do that, obviously. You got, that just wouldn't.
That wouldn't really fly.
But,
to me, right?
She said, yeah, they'd be sitting on the tailgate, tossing papers out, and he's driving. And so I didn't do that because I was, it was before my time. But
I like the way you talk about it. People say that, growing up in a house, how are things different? But that was your norm. I mean, from the
Right.
time you were born, that was the
Right.
norm. You don't know what it was like to grow up any other way,
Right.
except for having all the siblings.
right, and could be very chaotic too. And it didn't help with that train, because those freight trains, they're long and noisy still today, but they don't blow horns, which they did then. And of course, we lived right near the crossing by Lake Street, and so the whole house would shake. And so what would happen is our conversation volume would go up, and the TV, if we were watching it, and somebody seemed to always be watching TV, would go up. And so, like, when my wife-to-be came out for the first time, and I didn't even tell her what it was. She just, I mentioned we had a big family. Like, how do you define big, right?
Right.
I mean, people say, oh, yeah, I got 7 people in my family. Oh, that's a big family.
That's a good start.
Yeah. So she, like, well, she got over the whole thing quickly. My mom was real warm and, liked having people around. And so, anyway, so she's like, the train comes through, house is shaking, people are talking loud all of a sudden. Her head's spinning, I could see it. The train's gone, but the commerce, everything stayed, that's up here now. And she said to me, why is everybody yelling? Oh, yeah, right. It took us a while sometimes to realize the train had gone by,
Sure.
But that was our norm.
Wow.
Even though I wasn't living there at the time, I guess, I went right back, reverted back to my childhood.
I'm sure.
Yeah, it was wild.
Now, how many children do you have?
2.
2.
Deliberate, I was like, I don't want any more kids.
Okay, I was going to ask you.
2 is enough.
Anybody else in your siblings have a very large family?
6 is the largest.
6 is the largest.
And we're my sisters. They were. One brother has 6, but I think it's like by several different partners.
Sure. Well, and it's funny to see like that. Like, I'd wonder if you grew up going, wow, I really want to have a big family, or I don't want anything to do with that. Just have a couple.
Well, I just, at some point, I didn't want to have a lot of, I didn't see I just couldn't see me doing it.
Right.
I mean, I liked being involved in it at the time, but there were times I didn't like it.
Sure.
I mean, I'll be honest. There was it was hard to study sometimes.
I'm sure of it.
And so I used to go to the original, at least the original one I remember, over on, I think it was Whitney Street. Some old house was one of I'd go there to read. Well,
it must have been because you growing up in town. I always like to see people's perceptions of you growing up here, the downtown area, like things you can do, and watching the progress as things go on. From some of your favorite things to do. What do you miss about Grayslake and how it's changed?
I miss. Well, the sprawl, it's everywhere, and street lights and things like that. That I don't really care about, but I'll be thinking about when I'm driving through here.
Right.
It was they have another high school. They got north.
Changed a lot.
Yeah, and so the high school itself I can't hardly even recognize it before I went there.
A lot added on.
But I mean, I think the core community looks somewhat the same. In fact, like at Lake Street and Center, that Masonic Temple building, I don't think it's changed since I was a kid. It's like weird. I'm always like, what's going on in there?
Okay, you're not the only one. I want to go in there really bad. I've left 3 notes in there if anybody's listening, because I want to have a little interview of what goes on there day to day, or if it's just the only things I've ever seen is like a picnic here and there, or a couple things. But
yeah, it's like Men in Black, or what's happening,
I want to know.
It's crazy, yeah. So I mean, you see things like that, and it's great, I mean, and the streets, basically everything really does to me look almost the same. There isn't a great change, but it's like spread out everywhere, and
it really is.
There's a lot of traffic, but I mean that goes with the territory. It's like that everywhere. I mean, Antioch's, I've been there 30 years, and it's 3 times bigger than when I got there.
No, just the population changes.
Yeah.
So how many, have you listened to a couple podcasts or no? I like when people say no to this, by the way.
Well, no, I haven't. Okay. On YouTube, occasionally I'll watch that Joe Grogan, is that?
Yeah, how about any of ours, any of the Grayslake ones?
No, because I wasn't aware of it until Richardson introduced you to me or us, and
you're probably like, who the hell is this guy?
Well, I mean, Jim, knows what's going on. That's his thing.
Yeah.
He, like, everybody knows him. It seems like it. And he was, I wasn't surprised that he
knew somebody.
That he was aware of something like this, but still, no, I haven't.
Okay.
And I just was, like I said, I visited your website the first time today, and so he did tell me that they were Jay Hook when we talked about it when we met.
Yeah, wow, that one was great.
And I wasn't a big athlete as he was, and I guess you could say he still is because he likes to play pickleball. I know that.
Yeah.
And we golf together.
Nice.
But yeah, so he was probably very excited about it. I just remember it because Jay Hook, wow, that's pretty big,
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
And then the two, I'm still not. Maybe you know this. Were those Hook families, Cecil Hook and the other Hooks related? I mean.
Kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
I think that's the answer.
Yeah.
Because I was asked because I think there are 2 different Hook families. And I don't know how closely they were related.
Right.
But yeah, it still confuses me. But my point to my question was we do something about this time of the thing we call the Grayslake Hot Seat.
The Grayslake Hot Seat is brought to you by Joe Velez at JPV Financial. It's often said that those who fail to plan are planning to fail. Joe Velez and his team at JPV Financial create unique financial plans that address some of the most difficult challenges that people might face as they get older. No matter what stage of life you're in, having a proactive financial plan can help navigate some of the difficult decisions you'll face, helping you live your life by design, not default. Securities and investment advisory service offered through Osaic Wealth Inc. Member FINRA SIPC. Now for the Grayslake Hot Seat. Hey, thanks, Joe.
Where I'm going to give you some rapid fire questions to ask you to get to know you a little bit better. So I like that. I like your enthusiasm.
No, go ahead. I mean, you could chat because I guess this would be like a cognitive test at the doctor's office. Just don't ask me.
What do you see when you look at this picture?
Right.
All right. So these are kind of all over the place. So when you first meet someone, how does someone impress you?
By being themselves. Don't try to come on, too strong. Like we met, you're carrying your coffee and your duffel bag. I mean, and you looked, hey, and I could tell we were going to get along. I just had a feeling. So.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, it's too hard to be somebody else, so I just try to be myself.
There you go.
Here's an interesting one because of your growing up too. So, if your life up to this point was a story, what would the title of it be?
Surprising.
Surprising. Okay. I thought you were going to say I made it out alive.
Well,
so far.
Well,
anyway.
I guess I would be part of it.
Right. It would be a good chapter if that's
yeah.
surprising. Let's go to. Do you consider yourself street smarts or book smarts?
Little of both.
A little of both. If you had to have a superpower, what would it be?
Superpower would be my vision. I'd like to be able to see better.
I like that you're not asking for a lot, not supervision, just to be able to see. Good. Tell me a place like you'd like to travel that you have not been.
Scandinavia.
Scandinavia. Nice. What was this one I wanted to ask you? What was your first car? Because you talked a little bit about cars.
Ooh.
First car, and how old were you, if you know?
I was 16.
16?
And I think it was a Dodge Dart. I'm not sure about the Dart part. It was a Dodge. It was kind of a odd pale blue, and I think it was a four-door. It had a push-button transmission on the dash. Yeah, I'm
Really?
pretty sure it was a Dodge.
That's cool.
Yeah, and so.
That's awesome. If you had to write a book, what would it be about?
Well.
Matter of fact.
Well, no, because I just posted a book I wrote on Amazon.
Oh, really?
So you can look me up on Amazon, Randy Kick at Amazon.com. Actually, there's two. One is a novel, sci-fi novel I wrote, and the other was a kid's book I wrote several years ago.
Really?
I wrote that for my grandchildren, who it's about. And I decided, I put a lot of effort into it. And then I had my wife do all the illustrations, which I think are better than my little story. But that's beside the point. But the other is one that just was just a story I came up with. But I'm supposed to be working on one called, it's in a program called Storyworth. That's a subscription. My daughter gave it to me a couple of years ago. I got like 3/4 of the way through it. You're supposed to do like an autobiography.
Oh, yes.
And so I've been working on that, and I got off track because I wanted to finish this other one I just talked about. And I mess around with songs that I write too.
Wow.
So what was your question again? I forgot.
I was going to say. So the answer would be yes.
Yes.
How about the titles of the books that you've written? What are the titles if we look on Amazon?
Yeah, it's a simple title. Sorry about that. I'm going to sit on my hands.
You're fine.
It was only a dream.
Is that's
the novel.
Nice.
The kids' book is Toy Patrol.
Toy Patrol. Nice. Would a 12-year-old version of yourself think you're cool?
Yeah, probably not.
And then I usually say, do 12-year-olds really think anybody's cool? Any adults? Yeah,
right.
Probably not. Do you or ever had a nickname?
Oh yes, I had a couple.
I'd love to hear them.
Well, okay. All right. When I was a youngster, don't ask me why. But my sister Helen, the one that was blind, used to call me Chicky.
Chicky.
Yeah. And then they called me, my brother and sister called me Chick. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. She couldn't even explain it. But she said, we used to dress you up like a girl. I said, what? Don't even say that to people. Now I've just let it out on your podcast.
Nobody's listening anyway.
But now I'd be in vogue or trendy, right?
I mean, you never know.
I was ahead of the curve.
You were.
And the other one was in high school. A buddy of mine called me Baldino.
Baldino.
Well, the dress code, the haircut code. Mm-hmm. So we kept already pushing the envelope every week because he checked you every week, Eiserman, or his honchos, or his side henchmen, rather. And I got kicked out. And so I come home, and my mom says, because my dad wasn't here, she goes, what are you doing here? I said, they threw me out. Oh, not your hair again. Because my dad used to cut everyone's hair. That's another story for another podcast. But he used to cut our hair. And so I didn't want him cutting my hair anymore. Well, so I paid the penalty. So I got kicked out of school. So two of my brothers, the older ones, who are juvenile delinquents, are there. And we can fix that for you. They went to work on me. Next thing I know, they put big divots in my head, and I had this. And so I was like a sophomore. Anyway, so next thing I know, they just said, we'll fix it up. So then they shave it off, and I got a band on this. I got a mohawk, but a stubby one.
Oh, my God.
So I go up to the school, back to school, and then they threw me out again. And they said, that was like too extreme, Mr. Kick.
Oh, my goodness.
And so anyway, my buddies and I, when we sit around, okay, this is another sidebar. We all were smoking pot. What a big surprise. When I probably smoked it when I was 15. Now, I gave it up. I did not really like it, but my friends did. I don't care, whatever. Anyway, so those times, I did, people get weird, and I would start singing. And they said, you sound like Dean Martin. So, Baldino.
Oh, my God.
There you have it.
Most people have no idea what to do with their aging loved one who needs help. Well, there is a solution. A company that provides care and assistance to make your loved one feel right at home. At Right at Home, their mission statement is to improve the quality of life for those they serve. They offer extensive services: personal and companion care, safety supervision and transportation, fall prevention, dressing and bathing assistance, medical reminders, meal prep, hospice support, ambulation support, stroke recovery, Parkinson's support. The list goes on and on and on. If you have an aging loved one that needs help, call Right at Home. Most people prefer to age in their home rather than moving to an assisted living or nursing home. Right at Home can make this happen. Contact Right at Home at rightathomenlc.com or give them a call, 847-984-0103. Now back to the show.
In a million years, I couldn't guess that story anyway, but now we know. So if you see Randy somewhere, you just yell Baldino at him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
That's awesome. I love stories. That's why we ask questions like this, because I think it's fun to bring stuff out. Tell me something that you wish you learned sooner in life.
To pay attention.
Anything specific?
Well, yeah, I mean, I just, my dad would encourage us to read. Actually, I always had a subscription like to National Geographic, books around, on various things, but cause he was always reading agriculture primarily, it seemed like. Anyway, so you might translate that into maybe being good in school. I maybe, because I'm a sub now, I told you that, okay. Yeah. I see these kids, and of course, everybody now, they've identified all your learning problems. It's a big thing, and you're just surprised how many there are. At least I am. It's amazing, and I think it's great. I was probably one of those kids that maybe had an attention deficit disorder or something,
with you.
And so I wish I'd been able to pay attention and done better in high school, because it took me a long time to get somewhere in a career, and then I ended up going to college. But that didn't happen until I was in my 40s, which is hard when you have a family and you're working. Then I got through that and had an opportunity to go to graduate school. So I thought, geez, do I want to do that now? And I did. I ended up going down to Chicago, to DePaul. But that was hard, too.
I bet.
So I got, that accomplished. I got a master's degree. But I wish I had done it when I was like, 18 or 20. It might have helped. But I think it was part of it just not, listening to people when they were trying to tell me things that were useful.
I think that's great advice, right? And part of that is just being present, right? And listening to people and being aware of your surroundings at the same time. What's your middle name?
David.
Nice name. Have you ever broken a bone?
No, that's a good question too. I mean, because on all those people, we've had very few broken bones, even though we're always fighting.
I'm sure you had to be tough living in that house. Okay, so if you had to have a theme party at your house, what would the theme be?
Oh boy, what would the theme be? Rock and roll.
Rock and roll, love it. 1 to 10, how good of a driver are you?
I'm a very good driver.
Mm-hmm.
Just like what's his name in.
I'm an excellent driver. Is it Rain Man?
That's right. That's it. Thank you.
Did you play a sport in high school then at all?
No.
But it seems like you like music too, right?
I do.
You have a lot of interesting hobbies. Do you have a hidden talent? You're a writer. You're a musician.
Well, I don't consider myself a musician, but I mean, I mess around with the guitar, and people say it sounds pretty good. But I would never want to go out and perform for anybody, because people I do who are really good guitarists, I don't want to do that to myself. But anyway, so I do it for my own enjoyment. Right. I'm always trying to improve, though.
Right. Okay, so growing up or currently, do Do you have a fond memory of what was your favorite Grayslake event to attend?
Favorite Grayslake event? Wow. Oh, well, I guess, well, it was sort of Grayslake. It was the Lake County Fair because it was here in Grayslake.
Miss that, right? It's just not the same anymore.
Right, exactly.
Because that was cool, and that's where everybody went.
Yeah, right.
You can find all of us there. It was weird walking into the new fairgrounds and walking around just thinking back to childhood that it wasn't nothing like it.
No, that was a real fair.
It was a real fair.
Yeah.
Do you remember the first concert you ever went to?
I do.
What was it?
Well, it could have been The Who.
Nice.
A buddy of mine's godmother, aunt maybe, they lived in the city, she and her husband, but she worked for Ticketron and was always getting him tickets. So I saw Ravi Shankar, The Who. I saw all kinds of bands that, were at the Auditorium Theater and had good seats. I mean, it was great.
Very cool.
Yeah.
That's a good friend to have.
Yeah.
I was going to say, that's awesome. Let me see. Have you ever won an award?
Yes. Back when I was my first time was when I was like 10. The JC had a annual fitness thing they did. I don't know how many years they did it.
Yeah.
But the first, that one year in particular, I won my 3 events. A 100-yard dash, I don't remember my time. The baseball throw, I don't know if it was a 12-inch softball or a league. I think it was a league. I don't know. And I don't know how much competition there was, but there was a lot of people there.
Hey,
and then a relay. And so one of the relay members, he also won 2 events. I don't remember his name off the top of my head. So we both had 3 events. We took first place.
That's cool. And from the JCs?
The JCs.
Yeah.
Right.
That's cool.
Yeah.
See, I like that. I think we should have more stuff like that.
Right.
And especially at 10 years old. That would be really, really, really fun to do.
I think I was like 10 or 11 or something like that.
Yeah. Now some really serious ones.
Oh, boy.
Tell me about the second time you got arrested.
Well, I could. Yeah. So.
You don't have to.
Okay.
Usually it's a trap for people.
Oh, no. I mean, you caught me off guard, but you know what? It did happen.
Okay, let's hear about it.
And I ended up in Lake County Jail, and it was frightening.
Wow.
Because I had heard about a lot of bad things about, well, jail generally, but Lake County Jail, yeah.
Not the place to be.
In particular. And, well, so one was for possession of marijuana, which I'm going to say it here publicly, it wasn't mine.
All right.
And so
he was innocent.
I was. But some of the people I was with said you deserved it because the police were after us because of me. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay, that sounds good.
I did my time. And now it's legal.
Right. And now you can walk around with it.
That's right.
Wow.
And I don't even touch stuff.
Wow. That's awesome though. What do you put on your pizza?
Oh, I'm a cheese pizza, period.
Just
That's
cheese.
it. Yeah.
What was the other one? Because if I don't ask this, I get in trouble too.
Thin crust, by the way.
Thin crust. Have you ever eaten a roller dog from a gas station?
Probably not, but it's possible because I used to do a lot of traveling.
Yeah, the day is young too. You never. you know,
so could happen.
It could still happen. And let's end with this one for this section here. Is I would never do blank again.
Ooh.
And you have to pick one.
Okay, I know. And this okay. Okay. This is just advice. I would never drink. I never would drive intoxicated again.
That's a very good advice.
Yeah, because I don't think it's good. Period. For a lot of reasons.
Not for anybody.
And I could say I probably have, and I shouldn't have. So. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's good advice, kids. If you're listening, that's
that's
a
right.
very good advice.
Right.
Well, thank you for participating in that. It's really fun to have, especially because, as Grayslake goes on and we talk about history and we talk about, people, families that have lived here and the people that have shaped our community. It must be kind of cool to be a part of a family that if you ask anybody, you just mention your last name in this town to anybody at a certain age demographic and everybody knows.
Right.
Right?
Yeah, it is. I mean, and... one last thing about that. There was a time when I was real young when I'd go to go to a friend's house for the first time. Oh, hi, Mom, Dad, this is Randy Kick. And there'd be this pause. Oh. Like,
so there's a stigma that it carried along?
for a while.
Okay.
But they got over it. But no, I mean, really, the town was, everybody's great. I have a lot of old friends, and, I've known my whole life, and it's a nice town.
Yeah.
And good people.
Yeah, and an interesting way to grow up. I think you've had a full life so far of all kinds of
absolutely.
things. And I really love that you went back to college and then you got your master's and everything too, like later in life. I think that's very admirable. I'd love to.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody can do it. I just recommend you do it when you're young.
Right.
But if you got other things to do, do them. But,
Sure, and then you had to do stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so as we wrap up, any other Grayslake stories you want to tell? Anything really fun? Anything? Because I think a lot of times when we turn this off, a lot of people are like, God, I wish I would have said because I had this great story about this.
Well, there's probably a lot, but I would just say our golf league's always looking for new members.
All right.
The Stiff Shafts.
Oh, you're part of that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
Jim Richards and I won 2024 championship.
Did you?
Oldest guys to do it. We're both in our 70s.
Yeah.
And did it without alcohol, without marijuana.
Wow, that's amazing. I mean, just
we don't need crutches or anything.
Different category. Tell me some other people that are in that group.
Oh, I don't know if they want anybody to know.
Is Basone in that one with you?
Okay, there you go. All
so
right.
Mark Basone.
You can name the names, and I'll just say yes. Some people want to remain anonymous.
Divulge the people that you hang out with.
Yeah.
I've known Mark. We grew up here together, so I've known a lot about them and their family for a long time.
He's a good guy.
Yeah, he's a character.
And Tony's a great guy, too.
Tony's great, too. I could tell you some of my favorite Halloween costumes they've worn to my parties, and we probably shouldn't mention those. I'll leave those on. You're very polite to the people that you hang around with, too.
Well, you learn that when you're in a big family.
Right.
You got to keep your mouth shut.
Right.
Like I said, pay attention, quit talking. Kind of like a little mafia going thing,
Exactly.
Because it's going to come back to bite you.
This is true. That's why they say God gave you 2 ears and 1 mouth, right?
That's right.
Listen more.
That's right.
Anything else you want to share today?
No.
I really appreciate you coming in and telling cool stories because it's fun just the perception to wrap my head around what it must have been like to grow up like that. That's really cool.
Yes, and you can survive.
You can, and I guess
perseverance is very important.
Perseverance.
And I have a short fuse for people who complain about their lives.
Unless
they have a health problem,
sure.
Then I understand it.
I can imagine.
But even my sister, who was blind, ended up living by herself in Chicago, had her own apartment, and did it for years. And she got married and raised a family.
That's awesome.
With a sighted guy.
Right.
And so, anyway.
So stop complaining.
You can do anything.
Yeah. I'm not going to complain about being a father of 3. That's for sure. But sometimes it gets a little hectic.
I know.
So I'm sure there was a lot of patience.
It's all
in
relative.
Your house. It is. Yeah, I guess it is. Well, Randy, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Dave, it was nice. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah,
I hope this makes the cut.
And, we'll see. We'll see if it comes out on the next. I'm just teasing you. Grayslake, hey, do me a favor. Thank you, first of all, very much for listening. I appreciate it. Do me a favor and subscribe, and wherever you guys are listening, whether it's on Spotify, whether it's on YouTube, wherever the heck you get your podcast. That way, every Tuesday you get to meet another member of our community, which I think is really awesome. And the highest compliments we get are that we get to know more about our town by listening to just me getting to hang out with really cool people. So with that, too, as we always end, we never know what our friends or family or anybody is going through, especially with holidays coming off. So some people are having bad days, so get out there and do 1, 2 different random acts of kindness, whether it's saying hello to somebody, open the door for somebody, and sometimes a smile can turn somebody's days around. So just do the little things. Be a good person. Be kind. So thank you, Grayslake. Randy, thank you very much, buddy. And Grayslake, we'll see you next Tuesday, everyone.